Hello everyone, my name is Samyukta Sunil and I'm your host for today. It gives me immense pleasure to welcome you all on behalf of DKMS Foundation India. Today, Feb 4th is observed as World Cancer Day globally, and this day is observed every year to raise awareness about different types of blood cancer, different types of cancer, and to encourage its prevention as well. We're here to raise awareness about the life threatening diseases such as blood cancer and other blood related ailments such as thalassemia, and also to witness a very magical moment here today. DKMS has been on a mission to give as many blood cancer and blood disorder patients a second chance at life. And I thank each one of you all today on the panel and in the audience for being a part of this event today. So let's begin this special event with one of the best transplant physicians of the country, Dr. Biju George, Professor and Head, Department of Hematology, CMC Vellore. Hi, Doctor. How are you?
Hi, Samyukta. Thank you for inviting me to this meeting.
So excited to have you. So doctor, we would like to know a little bit about the importance of blood stem cell transplant for blood cancer and other blood disorder, and what is the role that ethnicity plays in the same?
So, we need to remember that there are different types of blood cancers which are present in adults. Some of them respond to medicines, what we call as chemotherapy, and they get cured with chemotherapy. But in many patients, either they do not respond to chemotherapy or there are diseases where they are at a high risk of the disease coming back despite chemotherapy. And for these patients, bone marrow transplant is the treatment which will help cure them.
Okay.
Now, to find a donor for a transplant, we first look among the siblings, usually the brothers and the sisters, to see if there is a donor available. But in only about 30 to 40% do we find such a donor. And those where we do not find a donor, one of the options is to look at registries to see if there is a matched donor available. Now, HLA, which we look for, is sort of restricted within geographical and ethnic populations. And so, for an Indian, you are more likely to find a donor among the Indian population. And if you look at data which is available from the International Bone Marrow Registry, if you are a Caucasian, you have about a 70-80% chance of finding a donor from the International Registry because they are full of Caucasian donors. But an Indian has only about a 10 or 20% chance of finding a donor. So that is why having registries within India where there's a lot of Indian donors will help find a donor for a patient who needs a bone marrow transplant.
Absolutely. That was definitely very informative. And as you mentioned, the process seems very arduous and prolonged. But we have one such survivor here, one of your patients, in fact, Miss Sheeja. And can you describe Sheeja's case in particular and how a blood stem cell transplant has actually benefited her particularly?
So Sheeja was diagnosed to have a cancer called as chronic myeloid leukemia first in 2018, and the usual treatment is a medicine called as imatinib. A lot of people do well on that, but she unfortunately progressed and transformed from the chronic myeloid leukemia to an acute leukemia. Now, once you progress to that, you first get chemotherapy to try and control the disease. But once you control the disease without a transplant, you cannot cure. So there was a search for siblings, no sibling was found. And so we searched the registry to look for donors. And through the DKMS BMST, we managed to identify a donor that is available. This is it is a long process which takes a little bit of time because it needs coordination between us as the transplant center and between the center where the donor is actually going to go and donate the cells and then for the cells to come to us for the transplant. So a bit
Right.
of coordination is required for that. And then once her disease was under control, we got her over, we got the cells, and we proceeded with the transplant. And now she's 2 years or three, almost 3 years now, who's doing very well with post-transplant.
That's amazing because Sheeja's story itself is so inspiring, and to know that even the technicalities and the process that went behind her treatment was just as inspiring is really wonderful to hear. So, doctor, why do you think that a country like India can reduce such a huge burden on diseases like blood cancer?
Yeah, so unfortunately, we need to remember that we do not, we have not identified specific causes for why blood cancers occur.
Mhm.
So reducing that incidence may not be that easy. But what can be done right now, I think, is to try and ensure that every patient who has blood cancer has access to treatment. And how do we do that? We do that by ensuring that every state, every major city in every state has at least a cancer center where this patient can go and have treatment. That is one. Two, I think a lot of both the state health services as well as private organizations are helping patients in terms of financial support, because unfortunately in India, as you know, patients have to pay out of their pocket for treatment.
Yeah.
And cancer treatment is costly, but there are a lot of organizations who are working forward to that. And then, of course, if you reach a stage where a patient needs a transplant, again, both the state services and private organizations also step in to help fund these transplants so that these patients can be cured.
Right. Definitely. And I think everything that you mentioned is most definitely the need of the hour, and it should go beyond just being spoken about once in a year. This is a very important conversation that needs to be had. So, along with that, what do you think is your message for our audience today?
So I think this whole question about registry, I think there are two. One, cancer is curable,
Okay, okay.
whether it be with chemotherapy or with a bone marrow transplant. The second, I think, more important is to the young people out there who are healthy. Please go to a registry and register yourself as a donor. I'm registered as a donor. So I think there is no reason why all of you cannot be registered. And if they do find a situation where you are wanted because they have identified you as a potential donor, please to donate because it will definitely save lives.
Absolutely. On that note, thank you so much, Dr. Viju, for
My
your
pleasure.
time. And moving on, what is more surprising is that the fact while organizations like DKMSB are day and night to increase awareness, we require more potential lifesavers, and there's a lot more that needs to be done. As I said, the conversation needs to reach larger spaces, larger audience. So you can definitely show your support by registering yourself as a potential lifesaver, as Doctor mentioned, on dkmsb.org/register. And if anybody in the audience has any questions, please feel free to use the chat function below. Now comes a very special moment that I have been looking forward to. And I would like to introduce you all to a true like a true warrior, Miss Sheeja, a wonderful nurse and a blood cancer survivor, joining us all the way from Kuwait. Hi, Sheeja.
Hey, good evening to you all.
Good evening. So, as Dr. Biju mentioned, Sheeja was diagnosed with chronic myeloid leukemia, a type of blood cancer, and Sheeja has been through a lot till she got a second chance at life from a donor and her lifesaver from India. But enough from me, more from the woman of the hour. We need to hear from Ms. Sheeja and her husband, Mr. John, who's present here with us. Thank you for joining, Mr. John.
Hi.
Hi. So, how are you? How are you feeling today? And how do you feel that you might be meeting Sheeja's lifesaver real soon?
ജോൺ എങ്ങനെയാണ് ഫീൽ ചെയ്യുന്നത്? ഷിജയുടെ ലൈഫ് സേവറിനെ കാണാൻ പോവാണ്. സോ എന്താണ് ജോണിന്റെ ഒരു ഇപ്പോഴത്തെ മാനസികാവസ്ഥ?
ഡോണറെ നമ്മൾ തിരക്കിയ സമയം തൊട്ട് നമുക്ക് കാണണമെന്ന് ആഗ്രഹം ഉണ്ടായിരുന്നു. ഇപ്പൊ കാണുന്നതിൽ വലിയ സന്തോഷമുണ്ട്. നേരിട്ട് കാണണമെന്നായിരുന്നു ആഗ്രഹം. പക്ഷേ കൊറോണയുടെ ഒക്കെ പ്രശ്നം ഉണ്ടായതുകൊണ്ട് വരാനും കാണാനും പറ്റുന്നില്ല.
So from the moment they started searching for a donor and they found a donor, they have been wanting to meet him in person because of the corona and the pandemic and all. He's not able to meet him in person, but he's so excited for this moment.
Absolutely. I think we all share your excitement as well. So, may I ask you, Mr. John, that if you ever had a thought in your mind that Sheeja will never lead a normal life?
ജോൺ എപ്പോഴെങ്കിലും ചിന്തിച്ചിട്ടുണ്ടോ ഷീജയ്ക്ക് ഒരു നോർമൽ ലൈഫ് ഉണ്ടാവില്ല, അങ്ങനെ ബുദ്ധിമുട്ടുകളൊക്കെ ആയി പോകുന്ന അങ്ങനെ ഒരു തോട്ട് എപ്പോഴെങ്കിലും ഉണ്ടായിട്ടുണ്ടോ?
അങ്ങനെ ചിന്തിച്ചിട്ടില്ല. എന്ന് വെച്ചാൽ ഇവിടെ ഒരു കീമോ എടുത്തിട്ടാണ് ഞങ്ങൾ വലിയൊരു വരുന്നത്. അന്നേരം ഡോണർ ട്രാൻസ്പ്ലാന്റ് ചെയ്യണമെന്ന് തന്നെയായിരുന്നു പറഞ്ഞിരുന്നത്. ഞങ്ങൾ പ്രാർത്ഥിച്ചുകൊണ്ടിരിക്കുകയായിരുന്നു. അന്നേരം അവിടെ വലിയൊരു വന്ന് ഡോക്ടർ ബിജുവിനെ കണ്ട് ഡോക്ടർ ബിജു പറഞ്ഞു HLA ടെസ്റ്റ് ചെയ്യി, അത് നമുക്ക് ഡോണറെ കിട്ടും. അത് വിശ്വാസം ഉണ്ടായിരുന്നു. പിന്നെ ഇവിടെ തിരിച്ച് കുവൈറ്റിൽ വന്നു. 5 കീമോയും കൂടെ എടുത്തു, 5 മാസം. അപ്പോഴത്തേക്ക് അവിടെ ഡോണർ ശരിയായെന്ന് വിളിച്ചു പറഞ്ഞു. ഞങ്ങൾ എന്നും
He
പ്രാർത്ഥിക്കുന്നുണ്ടായിരുന്നു.
always had hope and prayers. So they were undergoing chemotherapy, one chemotherapy in Kuwait, and then they went to Vellore and met Dr. Biju. So you always had a hope that they will find a donor. So after 5 chemotherapies, finally they found the lifesaver. So he always had the hope from the beginning.
Absolutely. And I think that's a beautiful mixture of like your hopes and prayers along with all the, efforts from the organization and from the doctors that has come together and brought us all here together today. So, Mr. John, finally, how was the feeling? How did you feel when you found out that a matching donor was found?
ഡോണർ കിട്ടിയെന്ന് അറിഞ്ഞപ്പോൾ എങ്ങനെയാണ് ഫീൽ ചെയ്തത്?
ഡോണറെ 4-5 മാസമായിട്ടും ഞങ്ങളെ തിരക്കിണ്ടു. വലിയൊരു വിളിച്ചുകൊണ്ടിരിക്കുന്നുണ്ടായിരുന്നു. അന്നേരം അവര് സെർച്ച് ചെയ്യുന്നതേ ഉള്ളെന്നാ പറഞ്ഞത്. 5-ാമത്തെ മാസമാണ് കിട്ടിയെന്ന് പറയുന്നത്. കിട്ടിയെന്ന് പറഞ്ഞപ്പോൾ വളരെ സന്തോഷമായി. അതും 10-ൽ 10 മാച്ച് കിട്ടിയെന്ന് പറഞ്ഞപ്പോൾ വളരെ സന്തോഷമായി.
So they have been searching for a donor for 5 months, and they keep asking hospital, Vellore hospital. So they told we are continuing the search. So after 5 months, they got a fully matched donor.
Wow, that is definitely an incredible story. Thank you so much, Mr. John. And
Thank
now
you.
moving on to Ms. Sheeja. Hello.
Hi, good evening. Hello.
How are you?
I am doing good. Thank you so much for inviting for this meeting. Thank you so much. Thank you, God, for giving me to see and all. I have a second life in this after this treatment. Thank you all. Very happy to see you and blessed moment.
I mean, we share the same sentiments. And Sheeja, so after fighting blood cancer, now you're saving others' lives by being a wonderful nurse. And it's just one inspiring tale after another. So how does it feel?
ട്രാൻസ്പ്ലാന്റിന് ശേഷം ഇപ്പൊ നിങ്ങൾ നേഴ്സായിട്ടാണ് ജോലി ചെയ്യുന്നത്. സോ ഇതൊരു ഭയങ്കര ഇൻസ്പയറിംഗ് ആയിട്ടുള്ള ഒരു സ്റ്റോറിയാണ്. കാരണം നിങ്ങൾ ഇത്രയും വലിയൊരു ട്രീറ്റ്മെന്റ് അണ്ടർഗോ ചെയ്തിട്ടുള്ള ഒരാള് ഇപ്പം ആളുകളുടെ ജീവൻ രക്ഷിക്കാൻ വേണ്ടിയിട്ട് ജോലി ചെയ്ത് മുന്നോട്ട് പോവുകയാണ്. സോ നിങ്ങൾക്ക് അതിനെ കുറിച്ചൊക്കെ എന്തൊക്കെയാണ് പറയാനുള്ളത്?
As you said, I am a nurse, and especially I am an oncology nurse, working last 12 years in Kuwait. Now I have been working in palliative care treatment, same cancer hospital, and I am seeing these all patients like with spiritual, mental, and social problems all families are overcoming. I am always giving healthy teaching to these families and patients to come. This is not the end of the life. You have to come forward for this treatment. You have to be more confident. You will get the best treatment. I am always talking with the patient because I am the example of one of this.
I think, Sheeja, you are definitely a woman of immense strength. And honestly, I'm so glad to be having this conversation with you. And Sheeja, so is there any message that you have for your lifesaver?
Uh, I cannot enough to no words to say this. The donor who is the word thank you is not just enough to express my gratitude for what you gave for me and my family. It has been going to 3 years now after transplant, and I remember you and I thank you each day for you and praying God that God gave you good health for you and your family also. Your selfless act is greatly humbled for my family, and thank you for taking a time out of your regular time and for going through the discomfort of the donation process. You went for the treatment and injections and all. You went so many painful procedures. So thank you so much you and thanks to you and your family and God. I have a second life and I can live to grow old with my husband to see my son going through achieving good goals. May God bless you and your family. Thank you.
I think thank you so much for sharing that with us, Sheeja. It's so beautifully penned down, and I think it's a very, very, very beautiful note. Thank you so much for opening up to us about this. Sheeja, finally, what would you like to say to every patient who is in need of a blood stem cell donation like you were?
To all those who are new in need of blood stem transplantation, I want to say that be of good courage and take the necessary actions to undergo. Do not count the disadvantages or negative side, but look for the best out of it. As it happened to me, so you have to be the best outcome you will get. Don't think for the negative side.
That's great. So there is definitely a light at the end of every tunnel,
And
and Sheeja's
and there
story
is
has been
a good foundation in front of you. They will help you soon as possible for the transplant and all. They will help you as much as fast.
absolutely. Thank you so much, Sheeja. Thank you, Mr. John. Thank you, Sheeja. But now we are going to witness a very magical moment. A moment where Sheeja, a blood cancer survivor, will see her lifesaver for the very first time. So let's welcome a true hero from Namma Bengaluru, Mr. Sunil. Hi, Mr. Sunil.
Hi everyone.
Hello.
Hi.
I think you guys need to say hi to each other.
Hi Sheeja, how are you?
Thank you so much.
You're most you're most welcome.
This is a very, very special moment. Thank you so much for joining all the way from Bangalore, Sunil. It's amazing. And if there was not a pandemic, we'd be doing this in person and we'd want to witness this moment in person. But this is the new normal. But it's been nothing short of beautiful to watch the two of you all meet each other for the very first time, I must say. So, Mr. Sunil, how are you feeling today, especially on seeing Sheeja healthy and happy?
I was very excited actually. This is not event which happens every now and then, and not everyone gets this opportunity. Like one can save life, and we'll be able to meet again and again. And yeah, I felt very happy for this event actually.
Absolutely. And so, what motivated you to sign up for this cause in the first place?
Yeah, as I said, nobody will be able to save one's life without any reason. And when I registered in DKMS, it was just a casual visit. I went there. It was organized in our company. Uh, So it was just a casual thing. I just went there and registered there. And after few months, like I registered in September, and in the month of March, I got a call that there is a need of a donor. And I was not really convinced, as this is not a normal procedure which happens every now and then. I was a bit surprised, also shocked, like how it will go, how the procedure will be, everything. But finally got convinced with all the procedures, and I donated.
Absolutely. That's great. And like here we are. It's amazing.
Yes.
So can you talk to us, as you already mentioned a little bit briefly about your donation journey? So could you run us through briefly on what the procedure is from registration to donation, like shortly?
Yeah, registration is basically with the swabs which the registry provides, and then they'll save all the data. And once they get the requirement, the organization reached me and they asked if I'll be able to uh, donate the stem cells. And then I was actually Chandrasekhar helped me with all the procedures, how it has to be done. And there was a body checkup, everything done. And then they told me that there'll be a growth factor injections which will be given. Post that, I was able to donate. And I did not feel uncomfortable at all at any moment. And it was after donation as well, it was very normal, and everything went well. There is no issue at all. No one should hesitate to do this. Everyone has to come up, and they have to register first. Registering itself is not happening, I believe, because
Right.
most of the people are not aware of this registry and everything. So once they'll be able to get to know about the registry, and if they're able to get to know how things work and how easy it is to save someone's life. I know it is not very easy, but being a donor, it won't
Sure.
take much. There'll be no much of risk.
Yeah. Yeah.
So with that, it should be fine.
Yeah, definitely. It's not easy, but it's about making that step. And then once you
Yeah.
discover that you have the potential, then of course, why not, right?
Yes.
But I have to ask you, Mr. Sunil, Sheeja just read out a beautiful note that she had written for you.
Yeah.
What are your thoughts after listening to that? Because we're all very touched, but what did you think?
Actually, I was speechless. That was a beautiful note, Sheeja, and I'm very happy that you are healthy as of now, and very happy for your family as well.
That's great. And is there anything that you finally want to share with the audience, Mr. Sunil?
See, it's not like everyone's cup of tea, or not everyone will get matched that easily. Because I got to know that people who have registered 10 years ago still haven't got any match. And like me, I registered 3 months ago, and then there was a match, and I was able to save a life. So people should come up and register first, and if there is any match, do not hesitate and go ahead and donate.
Definitely. That's great. Thank you so much for sharing that with us. And thank you so much for joining us today. And we hope that this moment was as special as it was for the rest of us for you.
Yes, definitely.
Thank you, Mrs. Sunil. So, once again, if anybody has any questions to ask, please drop your questions in the chat function below. Only ones that are trying to make this happen. A situation where the patient meets the donor couldn't have been more sincere, authentic, and inspiring like we just witnessed it today. These are real life moments to cherish, and I'm undeniably very grateful to be here today. On that note, I'm extremely pleased to welcome Patrick Paul, CEO of DKMSB. Hi, Patrick. Good evening.
Hello, good evening, and a warm hello also to Sunil, Shreya, and Dr. Biju.
That's great. So, Patrick, please tell us a little more about the importance of health days like Cancer Day.
Yeah, there are several days during the year, like the World Maradona Day in September, the World Blood Cancer Day on 28th of May, And today is the World Cancer Day, which falls on the 4th of Feb. And such kind of days are very important to raise awareness about, in this case, World Cancer Day, about different types of cancer, and to encourage its prevention. So for us, as DKMS, so awareness about blood cancer and other blood disorders, how a blood stem cell donation can give hope to patients, and the importance of stem cell registries in India.
Absolutely. So, how is DKMS helping blood cancer patients in India?
I mean, blood cancer is a huge burden in India. So every year, over 1 lakh people are diagnosed with such life-threatening diseases. And DKMS, we started our operations in India in May 2019 with intention to increase the number of potential blood stem cell donors in India, of Indian, of different kinds of ethnicities from India, and to include them to the global database so that Indian patients have a better chance of finding a match. So India is a huge country, and so our aim is to reach out every corner in India to register. So currently we registered 50,000 potential donors and helped 50 patients in India to give them a second chance at life. But obviously we want to achieve much more.
And that brings me to my next question, which is, why do you think that India's representation is critical in the donor pool?
I mean, Dr. Biju, he already mentioned about the importance of ethnicity in finding a match, and that it becomes very critical for a country like India, which is so diverse that we have to register a large number of people from different ethnicities so that we can support, in the end, our goal is to support every patient here in India, right? And unfortunately, currently only 0.04% of the Indians are registered as potential blood stem cell donors. So it's very important to address this gap and to improve the chances for Indian patients to finding a donor.
Absolutely. So, how does DKMS plan to help more patients like Sheeja in the future?
So we realized very early that this decision of signing up as a donor is not a decision by the donor alone, but also it involves the family, friends, and so on. I mean, so Neil, he just said, right? He was, we called him. He first intention was, I'm a bit scared. What will happen now? So the first step is again to explain this process. And Sunil, you mentioned Chandru Shekhar, right? So I think maybe you can just add this also. So he, for sure, he explained this process so in detail that there are no open questions. And part of this is also to break standard myths which you find when you're reading about stem cells, what it is, what will happen with me. So this is a key also to break such kind of myths. So plus updating people about the technical advances of blood stem cell donation, because it's actually not a very difficult process. Yeah, I mean, you can compare it a bit like a blood platelet donation. In the end, it takes a while. I mean, maybe Sunil, you can mention here a few words about this. Sunil, do you want to?
Yeah, this is the procedure in while donating the stem cells was as similar as how we donate blood platelets. So there is no much of risk. Everything is hassle-free. So there shouldn't be any problem at all while donating stem cells.
Yeah. So in the end, so for us as DKMS globally, we believe that it's crucial also, and Dr. Biju mentioned this also, we are not fighting only against blood cancer, we are also fighting against social, economic, and infrastructure barriers. So it's very important for the patients also to give them access to potential life-saving therapy. Yeah.
Definitely.
And financial support in there.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think it's again very clear that there's so much that's being done by DKMS and there's so much more to be done in the future. So, coming to your last question, do you have any message for our audience today?
I mean, it's such a great event, and it's not my first patient donor meet, but every time it's heartbreaking in the way, positively. And still, there are so many patients outside here in India who are suffering on blood cancer and other blood disorders like thalassemia or aplastic anemia, and they're waiting for a donor who fits, who matched, and they need our support. And we know also here, we here in DKMS PMC, we know these donors, sorry, these patients also. We are in contact with them. And in this way, we want to help all of them. And so I would like to encourage people. So please come forward, register online as a potential lifesaver. So when you are healthy between 18 and 50, so you can just register on the www.dkms-bmst.org/register. So thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you so much for being a part of this, Patrick. And finally, we come down to the final section of today's event, and which is the Q&A section. So if anybody has questions, we again request you to use the chat function given below to drop your questions. So I think we do have a question for Dr. Biju. How safe is it, doctor, for the donors to donate their blood stem cells?
Yeah, so donating stem cells is a very safe process. We need to remember it is not like the other transplantation where you're actually donating part of an organ. The stem cells that you donate, because you have a healthy body, you will regenerate it within 1 or 2 weeks. So you're absolutely normal back within 1 or 2 weeks. It is a safe process because we take precautions in terms of making sure there are no major side effects that occur through the process of donation. At our center, we have done close to 3,000 transplants with donors ranging from 9 months of age to 70 years of age, and absolutely no problems for the donor. So it is an absolutely safe way to donate, and we should not, I mean, there is a lot of myth involved with donation, saying that you will lose a part of your body, you will become weak, you will have a lot of problems, but those are all myths. There is no problem, and look here, Sunil is the right shining example of that.
Absolutely. You're right, doctor. And I think there is so much more information and so much more to be learned, but clearly it does sound like a safe, very hassle-free procedure. So we have another question here for Patrick. Hi, Patrick. So how many donors are registered currently all over India?
It's very difficult to say, but approx 5 lakh, I would say.
Okay. And can people under 18 also register?
Also difficult question. I would suggest get in contact with us, stay in touch with us, and register when you're 18, because in general, when you're under 18, you should ask for your permission from your parents. So I would just say, wait, you can donate below 18, but in general, it's better when you are 18 or above.
Okay. Okay.
Can I add something to the question which was just before to Dr. Biju, because he spoke about the medical part. I would like to speak a bit about the in addition. I mean, Sunil, he came from Bangalore. We had also donors who came from far away, from members of the army who came from the borders and so on. So there is you have to be self-motivated to donate, and there is a process which you have to undergo, logistically, for example. And this is the key. But this is something you have to be motivated for. But on the other side, you have to be aware that you're saving a life. It's something which in the end will change your life. I don't know how Sunil is feeling now, but obviously he's feeling very positive, right? I mean, how many options we have in your life to become a life-saving hero? I mean, this is an opportunity in the end, right?
Absolutely. Absolutely. So, of course, the next question is directed at Sunil. So, did you have any health issues after donating your blood stem cells?
Not at all.
Not
Not
at all.
because of stem cell donating, nothing as such.
Okay, great. So again, then now moving on, we have a question for Sheeja. Hi, Sheeja. Have you fully recovered?
I am fully recovered. And just a checkup doing in after every 2 months I am doing the oncology blood test and counts, CBC, complete blood counts, and everything is doing, and regular checkup is done. But
That's
health-wise,
perfect. That's great. So both the donor and the recipient are in good health right now, and it has been a safe and seamless process so far. I finally have another question for Dr. Biju. Dr. Biju, what is the success rate of a blood stem cell transplantation?
So that will vary depending upon the kind of disease and the state of disease at which you're taking the patient up for a transplant. In general, for blood cancers, we are looking at about a 50 to 60% chance of cure.
Okay. Okay, that's significant. Yes. Thank you so much, Dr. Biju. So it clearly takes just 5 minutes of your time, but you can become a lifesaver today and the days you just choose to register, and all it takes is a simple 5 minutes. And I would like to thank each one of you today for being here and taking out your time. And I hope we made this event as special for you guys as it is for the rest of the people witnessing this online as well. And thank you so much. Have a lovely weekend ahead. And this is me signing off. Thank you.
Okay. Bye,
thank you.
Sheeja. Bye,
Thank you.
Sunil.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Bye.
Thank you, doctor. Thank you so much. Thank you all.